I'm Celsus, and this is Rivet Gesture. Say hi.
Hello.
We're new at this whole thing, so bear with us. Um, right now, we're starting. We decided together a few days ago. Well, it's more like about a month ago that we're going to merge together and start working on projects together. Uh, what we're going to be doing is under our webpage. It's Boltfire Media. I'm sorry. It's called Boltfire Media, but it's at bolt-fire.com, which is on the screen. And essentially, what we're doing is we're going to try to get into gaming news, tech news, story writing, and animation. And animation specifically is going to be my thing. In the future, there might be some requests for voice actors because we don't have a big cast right now, but we're hoping to pull in more. Um, but yeah, and we're also wanting to expand the channel, not just me and Rivet. We've also got Care Bear, but she's not going to be here today. She's going to be mainly doing story writing. Yeah. If you want to take in on that a little bit, Steve, give a little dimension on yourself. Rivet.
Oh. Yeah, I will pretty much be helping with all that stuff. I'll probably be doing a bit of the story writing as well. And obviously I'll be helping with podcasts and blogs and the news. And it probably help out quite a bit since me and Celsus, we are into the same things, but we actually a little bit different. So it'll give a bit more variety to the channel.
We will fight
And
each other.
yeah, we're both smartasses, but we're different kind of smartasses. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. As what we're talking about right now, our podcasts are mainly going to be focused on gaming news, tech, and like new games, stuff like that is coming out. We might do some more talks to our story writing in it, but we won't be covering the animation part of it. As far as the animation goes, it's going to take a little bit because this is one of the reasons I started the group is because I want to learn how to do sprite parodies. Well, basically sprite animation and turn it into parodies because I find that very interesting and I've got a lot of ideals in my head that I want to get out. But yeah, like I was saying, our aim is to set up a podcast, a blog. The blogs are mainly going to be storytelling and then a little bit of gaming news and, tech. Tech is going to be our least focus, just to give you guys a heads up, but it is something I want to cascade into it for when do things like.
I may blog a bit about tech since I'm always looking stuff up. So
okay, you want to give
I can actually.
You want to give an idea of some stuff that you would like to work on then?
It's like any new cards coming out. I was like, I am definitely a technophile. So anything coming out that's cool that I think anyone who's watching the channel would be interested in, new video cards, stuff to improve the computer. I'm also cheap, so stuff that you can get some good deals on and stuff like that.
That would actually be a good idea.
So,
try to.
Yeah, so if you watch, you'll probably find something. If you're techie at all, you'll probably find something you would be interested in. I'm constantly looking myself, so why not spread it to the masses?
Yeah, I mean that would really be a good idea, like especially helping people make budget PCs. But since you're talking about that, it might be a good idea to try to set up a blog or on a blog about the new series of oh crud, I can't think of it. I'm sorry guys, I just blanked out. The new Nvidia cards that are coming out. I think they're
I've been checking those out though. They're pretty nice. I mean, they're never cheap, but they're nice.
No, I think I'm gonna splurge on one at the end of the year though. Even though I just bought this 1070.
Well, so far I've not seen anything that requires that new card. Other than, I mean, maybe if you're doing video editing or something, or you just don't want to buy a card for like 20 years. That new card is ridiculous.
I'm gonna be honest. I just want it for bragging rights.
I don't blame you. It's a really nice card.
um, but on top of that, oh shit. Maybe this is going to be a little longer than 10 minutes because it looks like we've already went past the not past, but we're up to 8 minutes right now. But we'll try to shorten this real quick. I apologize, guys. Um, and like our goal set for this, like my goal set in particular is for communicate or to better my communication, commentating, and reviewing abilities. I'm not particularly good at writing, so that is one thing I want to improve. So I'll be doing a lot of short stories and stuff like that, and articles. Um, Steve, any goals for
Oh,
you?
I guess get more back in writing. Thankfully, I'm used to blog writing because I used to work for a music magazine for quite some time. Uh, so writing about games is not going to be actually too much of an issue for me because it's just talking about a different subject that I happen to like as well.
I'll tell you one thing that will be an issue is learning freaking SEO for blogs. But I think that's a bit too technical to get into. But yeah, aside from that, to belabor the point, what we're doing now is that's just pretty much the aim for our channel. Is not well, I don't say channel, but website is we're going to try to get this, and in the future there will be spots open for people who are interested and like-minded in the same fashion that want to get into it, but it or get into this, but there will be work involved. So it's one of these things that you will have to commit yourself to if you ever find interest in our company here. But without further ado, we'll get to the gaming section of this. What you're watching right now is called A Plague Tale: Innocence. Um, I seen this game a few weeks back and I fell in love with it. If you watch the gameplay trailer, I suggest rewatching this after and hearing all the audio to it. So essentially, what the game is it's about, well, it doesn't necessarily say that it's about the Black Plague, but it references the time period that it came through. It's during the Hundred Years' War, which is 1337 to 1453. It was between two houses, which I'm probably going to butcher this name. It's Planet Genet and the Valus, which is basically the Kingdom of England and France. The whole purpose of the game, though, is to try to save your brother's life. You're trying to get a cure for him because something is activated, which they don't make reference. They just call it the original sin. At least I have not heard reference other than in this video to it. Not any information from the developers or anything. It's a puzzle game. Basically, if you're watching the video, you've got to try to find ways to get around these hordes of rats that will consume and eat you. That is that's the gravity of the game. But there's also little factors in, just like what's coming on screen right now. There's looters inside this field that are trying to take over, or not trying to take over. They're trying to take stuff from dead bodies to make money, but they're not particularly nice either. And the crafting system in the game is basically an alchemical one, and you're trying to use that to your advantage, like to light up bales of hay to get lighting around so the rats won't bother you, to knock out lights like you just saw right there from a guard so the rats will attack them and leave you alone. I'm kind of curious if this is just speculation right here, but if this has like an overall effect, like kind of like how Dishonored had their system. If people died within the system, there would be more consequences later, like a greater amount of plague and rats. Um,
Yeah,
other than that,
this
oh, I'm
makes
sorry.
me very much. Oh no, this very much makes me think this is the aftermath of you killing way too many people and Dishonored.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. Because when I first saw it, that was my first thought on this. Oh, but do you have any words on it, Steve?
What I've seen of the game looks kind of interesting. I've never seen where the danger is the rats before.
Yeah, it's very very menacing. But yeah,
Oh,
if you don't have anything else to comment on that, you can go ahead and talk about Quantum Break.
well, I do find the fact that it seems like your main, pretty much your only thing for the most part is alchemy in this game. I've never seen a game where that's pretty much your weapon uh, for the game. So that's pretty different.
Yeah. I've not seen anything extra that they've used, but yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I've seen them use. I have seen some little tidbits of clips that I can't show, um, of them being inside a city that's kind of infested too. So that's gonna be there. But yeah, all right. Then we will move on to the next point. Sorry, guys, I'm switching over, but you can go ahead and start talking, Steve.
Oh, Quantum Break. Yeah, Quantum Break's an interesting game with a lot of time mechanics. I don't think that many people have played it, but it's actually pretty good. I do think there were a lot of bugs in the game whenever it originally came out, but I played it after that fact. Um, it it's pretty cool. It's got a lot of pretty good actors in it, like Sean Ashmore, who played Iceman. He's not the Ashmore from Killjoys and Warehouse 13, if people know what I'm talking about. uh, because he's got a twin who does other stuff in acting. And got the guy from Game of Thrones and Fringe, and there's a character you don't really see much in the videos in the game called Beth Wilder, who also happens to be the main character in the company's next game, Control. But they've not quite said if that's in the same world or not, but it's not the same person. But yeah, it's an interesting game because of the time mechanics. Because there's a lot of stuff you wouldn't think about. I was like slowing down time, freezing time, uh, blowing stuff up, or I should say, preparing stuff to blow up while time is frozen. Time anomalies. There's a lot of stuff involving time and time shifting in the game that you can use. So it goes into a lot of depth and things you wouldn't think about.
Yeah, the one thing I particularly like about the ideal of it is the live action scenes they put in, like the older school games, like very old school games, like back on those old arcade consoles, where it, kind of like the Dragon. Oh, what was the name of that game? That really hard one that was on arcade consoles. It was Dragon
Oh,
Quest, I
Dragon's
think.
Lair.
There you go.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
there wasn't live action in that, but they cut out scenes and put animated scenes in there for it.
Well, the cool thing about Quantum Break is there are little things that you do during the game that will actually show up in the live action video when they do it.
Oh yeah,
Like you picking up little items, you doing little things that they actually show in the live video. It's kind of cool.
I remember reading about where where you play as the or antagonist in the game for a little bit, like just bits and pieces, and then
Oh
he
yeah.
has the ability to see what his actions will cause to a degree.
You do uh you do somewhat as well. Oh, well, actually, kind of towards the end. Um, yeah, I would actually have a little trouble calling him the antagonist because as you go further along in the game, it's hard to call him a bad guy. He's because what he's doing is bad, but it's for a perfectly reasonable reason. And so it's kind of hard to say he's better than the other guy. Actually, he might actually be better than the hero,
Honestly,
which is kind of messed up.
honestly, though, in most games, people don't really realize that the antagonist isn't necessarily evil. He just misaligns with people's goals that don't go with
Well,
his.
in this particular case, he is doing some pretty vile,
Oh,
horrible things, but it's stuff he must do in order to save the world, kind of thing. Both people are trying to save the world.
I got a good example of what I'm talking about. Fable 3.
Oh yeah, I
Where
could see
you
that.
have to basically take out your brother who is literally trying to save the world, but does not have the means to do it. Yeah. But that's where I was getting at. There's actually quite a few games like that they have like so much subtext in them that you miss that they're actually really nice people trying to help out. But
oh yeah,
they just don't
well they
have
let you.
the means
Go ahead.
to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, they actually, the reason you get to play the bad guy is so you know why he's doing what he's doing, and after that you're like, you start to wonder. You're like, well, I'm playing someone I kind of would want to stop. You kind of want to stop yourself. You're like, I understand why he's doing it now, and now I don't think he's done some horrible things, but now I know the reason why he's doing it. You kind of don't you don't want to stop him. You understand why he's trying so hard to do what he's doing. It's a really messed up story.
That's that is an interesting concept for it though, because I've always loved those type of games. Like as far as story goes.
Yeah, for him, what he's doing, he's like, I hate doing what I'm doing, but I have to do it in order to save the world. And that's the thing with it, because the main character, like he's doing what he thinks he needs to do in order to save the world, but he may actually be in the wrong because he doesn't have all the information.
As much as this conversation is actually interesting, we should probably cut it a little shorter because.
Oh yeah, I could talk about this game all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a good game. If
we'll work on formats, but
yeah,
I'm not too concerned with it for the first one. Just we'll work on formats so we don't get caught up in loops like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, side note before I completely go on, I am considering this. If the podcast on stream does do well and we start getting a few people in, that I'll start doing like giveaways during the podcast for games and stuff like that. If we get enough interest by the end of this podcast, I actually have a key for this game that I can give away. Anyways, sorry about that. Is there any more closing points you have before, or go ahead and move on?
Oh no, we move on. It's a good game. People should check it out.
Okay, and the next game that pardon me, guys. The next game that I had was Fallout 76. I know it's half and half on the field because it's not an original Fallout game, but the premise of the game is nice. And if it didn't have the label Fallout tagged onto it, there probably would not be any controversy
Well, it's
on it.
kind of original.
I mean, I won't say it's original.
Technically in an area we haven't been to before.
I won't say it's original. For a Fallout game, yeah, it's original for a Fallout game. But yeah. It's essentially like a souped up version of, I don't want to say Minecraft, but games similar to Minecraft, because Minecraft is more, you can build the entire structure. But to get started on it, one of the things that I've always wanted in a Fallout game is multiplayer. But to be honest, I've always wanted that in Elder Scrolls games too. Except for Elder Scrolls Online, because that they just did a bad job with that one, in my opinion. But the whole system is based off of you being in Virginia. I cannot remember the time that it was during. Like, I know it's the first game technically in the series, but I think
it's supposed to be like 200 years or something after.
No, 200 was Fallout 4. It would have been, I think it was like 50
maybe
or
100.
70. I think it was like
Yeah,
something ridiculous.
if it wasn't that long of a period.
Yeah, but the game bases off of like I said, it's a Minecraft style game, not exactly, and it still has the perk system in it, which they have it vamped to where it's a good. Sorry about that, guys. Let me turn that off real quick because I don't need people messaging me while I'm on here. Um, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, the perk system is built more around um it was on the original part, but it's based around like building and the charisma skill is more of like a party skill in this game, where people were wondering how it works. So say if you gain if you have perk cards and you want to share them with people, your higher charisma will give you the ability to share those perk cards that you have with people. So say if you have vampire. I can't remember if that's actually an ability. Something that does life steal per like attack on the game. Your whole party would get the benefit of that. I can't. I think endurance is what's going to be part of building. But one reason I was bringing this up, and I know I'm kind of rambling on this, is the power armor system. I am really like jacked about that one just because one of the power armors that was shown on the footage in the I think it was E3 that did it. I can't remember. Had a what looked to be a construction power armor. So I'm pretty sure that they've made a power armor that supports your building abilities in the game. Um, as far as that, the nukes themselves are another interesting factor in the game because they're going to change the entire environment of an area. I'm kind of curious on the fact if the area will revert back after a while or if it'll fuck the map up permanently.
From what I was reading, it will revert back after a while because there are special resources and creatures that appear in that area after it's fired, and well, essentially they don't want those sticking around. They did. I didn't see a time frame though. How long?
Yeah, I haven't really got much in on that one. Another point that I love. This is something that I particularly love because I like old folklore and legends and stuff like that. It's just very interesting to me, even though most of them, just BS and not real. Like the monsters in the game, there are a bunch of monsters that are based off of Virginia folklore, like Mothman, the Grafton monster. It's the Grafton something. I can't remember the full name of it. You've seen it in the videos. It's the flesh gold. I completely forgot to switch this over, but while we're talking, um, but yeah, they've got almost everything based off of lore in the Fallout universe. Yeah, I can't believe I had that playing, Steve. You should have told me.
I sent you a message, but no big deal. Well,
so you're the one that interrupted the stream. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's one thing I really like. Have you seen any of the monster designs yet, Steve?
I've seen a few, and yeah, they kind of look pretty cool, and I do like I like the variety of monsters and new stuff that we've not seen anything like it in the other games.
Yeah, that weird sloth monster is interesting. Have you seen that one yet?
I've not seen that one.
So just a giant sloth that has these radioactive mushrooms growing on it, and apparently it's supposed to be toxic around the area. So if you're near it, you'll take I don't know if it's poison damage or radiation. Probably radiation though.
Yeah, probably. Oh, that's still pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, and on the point of monsters, there's a beast in the trailer. If you watched it and paid attention to it, you probably noticed this. Called the Scorch Beast. It was a level 50, like giant bat that looked kind of like a dragon. If you paid attention to the characters in the screen, it showed that the beast was level 50. The characters were not at higher than level 20 at max. So the game itself doesn't make you, or doesn't tether you to that level as long as you've got the appropriate skills and abilities to fight something that powerful.
And what I'm liking is the fact that you can you've got a machine that can pack up camp and move
yeah.
your camp. That's going to be a really nice ability in case you're like, nope, I don't like this area.
Which falls into the whole nuke situation. Um, there's supposed to be, whenever a nuke is being launched, you can pack up and you'll know 30 minutes prior to when the nuke is launched. So you can grab
30?
your stuff. Yeah, 30 minutes prior.
Oh, I thought it was just 5.
That's what they said on the video. That's it could have changed since then, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, the E3 stuff that they're given a
I mean,
substantial amount of time to pack up and leave. So, like, if you're away from your camp or something like that, you don't.
yeah, I mean that's going to be nice, so your stuff doesn't get destroyed. I'm going to assume the nuke instantly destroys your home if you're in the area.
That's what I'm thinking too, or at least does some severe damage to it.
Yeah.
And PvP as part of that point, griefing, they put countermeasures to like keep that down. That was actually one of my big points against the game, is because I was assuming that it was going to have a lot of griefers in it, like Ark Survival Evolved has. Which,
Oh God.
Yeah, I know. But they've got systems put in. So basically, whenever you fight someone, first time you kill them, it's supposed to give you a hefty reward. So if you fight someone out in the open, yeah, someone's probably going to kill you the first time they meet you. If they come back and kill you again, the reward is significantly lessened, and they have a bounty on their head for killing you in the first place, and it just keeps going up whenever they kill someone else. So there's no real benefit to continue to grief someone. And from what the designers said, the game has no loss on death, so you won't lose any items. I'm not quite positive if your base defenses will attack hostile players. That's something I don't know about.
I hope it does, because
Yeah.
if I go into my base and my turrets aren't mowing down someone who's shooting at me, I'm gonna be very mad.
Yeah.
It's like, shoot him.
It'd be freaking terrible. The one thing I'm looking forward to, though, is the freaking Scorch Beast attacking your base.
Yeah, I did read that they said the map is going to be big enough that griefing shouldn't be as much of an issue, due to the fact that the map is big enough and there's not enough people on the server for you to constantly run into people.
Yeah, it's 4 times bigger than. I'm sorry, it's 4 times bigger than the map on Fallout 4, which is the largest map they had in the game at the time, or in the Fallout universe at the time. And I don't know if you liked exploring like me, but the map took a long time to walk across.
Yeah, should be pretty interesting.
And there is one other thing, and I know you'll like this, Steve. The game is going to have vending machines in it. Those vending machines, you can place the items that you craft in them and sell them. I don't know if that particularly extends to, say, gear as far as like guns and armor, but I do know that it extends to like medical supplies and things like that. So if you go by someone's base, or you just randomly see, like, say, Steve here put a vending machine out in the middle of the wilderness, and he just comes back and stocks it up every now and again, you can buy stuff out of it, and Steve will get the money for that. I got to get over calling you Steve now.
That's fine. I was like, that's going to be interesting. I'm going to assume you can put them down anywhere, so I'm going to assume it's probably going to be best for you to put them down in a next to a major building, like a big building or something that people will see and definitely want to explore.
I guess.
So that should be cool.
The video ended. But since we've carried on this subject a while too, we might have to cut down the list of games we do per podcast. What was I saying? But yeah, that is pretty much all I was wanting to cover during this period. So we'll go on to the next game, and then that'll be the end of the podcast. So you can go ahead and start, Steve. Before I get this set up.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Wolf Among Us. I was like, So it is a Telltale game, and my favorite Telltale game, and it very much saddens me that Telltale's gone. But all the people seem to be going to other places, so hopefully we get some good stuff from that. But yeah, especially like it because I read the Fables comics, and this is based on uh, a, a side comic for the Fables. That's a separate story that's supposed to have happened before uh, the first comic, and I like the fact that this is one of the few things they've done that no one really knew anything about beforehand, because Fables, for the most part, most people have no idea what Fables is, and they could just see just kind of how messed up the world is, and some of the decisions are pretty weird. But the fact that you're playing Bigby, which is short for Big Bad Wolf, in the game is pretty cool, since he is one of the major characters from the comics, and you could tell everyone a little hesitant around him due to the fact that he was not a good guy before New York. But they did a really good job and kind of show you weird versions of different Fable characters. And I think a lot of people would like that, especially just how messed up some of them are.
Yeah, this was based off of a television show, wasn't it?
No. There's a comic book called Fables, and the show Once Upon a Time essentially ripped off Fables.
Okay, for some reason I heard that Once Upon a Time was the start of it. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, yeah. Once Upon a Time ripped off Fables like hardcore, but it's a way toned down version of it, a Disney version, because um, the people are not so nice in the Fables comics, not like Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, sorry
So
about that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I wasn't trying to miss out on what you said a minute ago. I was setting stuff up while you were talking. So
Oh,
I just wanted
no,
to
it's fine.
apologize.
But yeah. So yeah, it's based on the comics. There's like no connection to Once Upon a Time. It's just they are similar in the fact that it's a bunch of fairy tale characters out in the real world. But for Fables, the people are a bit more realistic, and there's no Disney aspect to them at all. None of them are, cutesy or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm seeing that from the video.
Yeah, they all have rules, and yeah, as you can see. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, and the story is interesting. But I really like Telltale games. So far, I've not really been disappointed by any of them. But it's one of those, either you like Telltale games or you don't like Telltale games. And but the Wolf Among Us is one of their better ones, and especially for a property that most people are unfamiliar with.
Yeah, sorry I can't add much to this. With everything going on, I didn't have enough time to research this one. And I have not played any of the Telltale games myself, so I don't have a good opinion. Not a good opinion, but a proper opinion for you guys.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, they're really good games if you like that kind of game. They go out of their way to make the story and the decisions you make during the story actually matter. I think that's the reason so many people like the Telltale games.
I mean, I'll have to eventually play it. I know I've got them in my Humble Bundle, a few of them. I think Wolf Among Us is actually one of them.
Yeah, and it does require you to act quickly, because, like, in this scene, it's like that they're showing right now, it's Big B fighting the woodsman, who is the person who killed him in the fables. So he's actually a danger to him.
And I'm assuming this is off of the Red Riding Hood story.
Yeah. But he's the big bad wolf. He's the wolf in Red Riding Hood. He's the wolf in the Three Little Pigs. So he's essentially, if there's a bad wolf in any fairy tale, he's that wolf.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So it gets kind of messed up.
Okay.
But yeah, your decisions matter a lot in the games, so it makes it interesting. And you kind of want to go through to make different decisions just to see what happened.
Okay. Not to cut this short though. If you have any more points, I get.
Oh no! That's all I was gonna say.
We're running on the 45-minute mark now.
Oh no, that's all I'll say. It's definitely worth people's time if they can like a game like this type.
Okay. But as for that, I'm going to say that's the close on the podcast. I'm going to have to do a lot of editing for this, and this will probably go up over the period of a few days on the website because the storage service I have for it right now is only like 20 minutes per, so it'll at least be 2, maybe 3 days.